we've been working on this page here because dun, 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 there is just under 2 weeks to have your say on the COVID inquiry. And like you've heard us say before, we really, 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 really encourage everybody to get involved and put your story in, because every story counts, every submission, feedback counts. It all helps us to be able to push the envelope, make sure that we get the outcome that we want, make sure that the things that we all care about are taken seriously. And one thing is for sure, if we don't do anything, we can guarantee that we're not going to get the outcome that we actually want. So this is what we've got here. You can get to it from the homepage on the RCR website. So I'll find you that in a minute. I'll go over there and show you how you can get through to it. Don't let them get away with it. Make sure your story is heard. The Royal Commission COVID Inquiry Phase 2 is finally asking the hard questions about the vaccines, mandates, lockdowns, testing, tracing, masks. If these impacted your life, now is your time to speak, not just for you, but for all those who were silenced. And I think that's a really important part, this particular part there at the end, because it is for the people who no longer have a voice because they're no longer here. Or those people who have been so badly injured that their life is unrecognizable. I think we owe it to those people in our society to make sure that they're heard. So you can click here to send the feedback, and I'll do that in a minute. I'll show you the page on the COVID inquiry, the COVID Commission website, where you can do this. And we've got a few little FAQs here. So the first one is, I shared my story during phase 1. Can I still participate in phase 2? These are questions that we've had come through. So we've put them up here so that people can have their questions answered. So the commissioners definitely want to hear from people again. The second phase covers new ground, like we've said before, the vaccine safety, the injuries, mandates, lockdowns, and public health measures like the testing and the tracing and the masks and stuff like that. So even if you've submitted before, you can still submit again. You could rework your previous story if you like, or you can start again, or it's up to you. There's a blank slate there for you to just do whatever feels right in this particular time. This one here, they don't listen. None of this makes a difference. Why bother? I've heard this a little bit, especially on social media. And we get it. It does feel like sometimes it's taken a really long time. We're sort of 5 years into all of this, but things are changing. And when they're changing, I think that we really do need to continue to bang the pots and make ourselves heard. And like we were saying before, the only guaranteed way to silence your voice is to not speak at all. So every single person that participates in this process helps to make it our voices be heard. It's harder for them to ignore it, and every number boosts the pressure. I think I can't emphasize that enough. If they say only 5,000 people made a submission, that is not going to be good for us. If they say 30, 40, 50, 60,000 people did, that sounds a whole lot better. And it would be even great if it was more than that too. So I don't know what to write. Can you help me? Yes, we can. And there's some prompts down below. So I've got a few more things about why it matters to do this. Every voice adds weight. Numbers matter. The more feedback that is received, the more pressure the government feels to face the truth. We've waited 5 long years for this chance. We've all been talking over this time that all we've sought is to be heard. And now we've got this chance to be heard. We have to take it. After all the censorship, the gaslighting, and the discrimination, this moment is ours. We owe it to each other. So many people were hurt physically, emotionally, and financially. The system totally and utterly failed us, and we want to make sure that it never happens again. And to do that, the truth needs to be brought out into the sunlight. And public pressure, we know that this happens. Public pressure drives change. It's how we got this second phase of the inquiry. Anyway, it was because of the pressure that we all placed for the people's terms on the last election, the talking that we all did about that, and the contacting different authorities and signing the petition and all of these things helped to create a big sort of blob of movement and pressure towards the incoming government to do something about it. So it worked, and we just have to keep following it through. When stories are told, minds are changed and justice becomes possible. And I have done now 2 of these Otago University countering mis and disinformation in public health day courses, which have all been, fairly like nails down a chalkboard, but I do it to see what they're saying. And what one of the things a theme that has come through in those sessions has been the importance, the value, the power of a story. Stories, if you think about it for yourself, when you hear somebody's the story about what has happened to them, it's hard to forget. It's harder to forget that than it is to forget, like it's easy for us to forget about stats and studies and all of that kind of stuff. But a story, it makes it personal. And that sort of thing does touch hearts. And we found that with the first phase of the inquiry, when we sat down with the commissioners and we told them stories, and we spelled out really clearly how people suffered under all of the different policies that were rolled out. And I truly believe that that's what got through to those commissioners in the end, and why they kept referring to us in their different media opportunities that they had as a result of when their report was coming out. So please keep that in mind. And which brings us to the next thing, is tell it your way. It's your story, it's your experience, and it's your right to be counted. And the important thing here, I think, is it can be as short as a single paragraph, or it can be many pages long. You can focus on one sort of thing that impacted you during that time, or you can be broad and talk about all the different things that happened to you and your family and your friends. There's no real rules there. And the good thing is that you can put this in writing, and there is a form on the website that you can type it into the form, and that has a character limit of about 20,000 characters, which is about 6 or so pages worth of writing. Or you can upload a Word document as a PDF or as a Word file, or an audio file, or even a video, provided it stays under the size limit for the file size. So there's lots more opportunities this time around for you to have your say in the way that's easiest for you. So if writing it says here is too hard, just say it, speak it, record it, and upload it there. And if you don't know how to do that and you need some help, please reach out to the people in your network nearby. If you're in a local group, put your feelers out in there and ask for someone to help you. I'm sure that there'll be people more than happy to do that. So the deadline, Sunday, 27th of April. That's not today. It's not next week. It's the one after. There's a link through to the Royal Commission website again, and some more detail about how to do that. So if you need some help in getting started and you've been delaying making a start on your story, we've put together this little sort of prompt list here of different things that might sort of spark off some thinking. And we definitely do not expect people to do all of these things, but maybe it might just be 1 or 2 of these different categories. So you've got at the top here, we've got vaccines and injuries. So did you suffer an injury or reaction after your COVID vaccines? Or maybe it was your family member or a friend. Were you given clear information before getting vaccinated if you did get vaccinated? And we know that lots of people that in our community did, for all sorts of reasons. What happened afterward, physically, emotionally, or medically? Did you seek help? Was your injury acknowledged? And if so, by whom? Did ACC support you, or your doctor? Or, were you one of these people where the doctors in hospital said to you, quietly and whispered sort of hushed tones that, yeah, we know that it was a vaccine that's probably likely caused this particular issue that you're having, but we can't say it, and I think that sort of thing is really important to let these guys know. The commissioners know that that was happening because we heard that it was happening in a huge scale across the board. Mandates and discrimination. Were you forced to take the vaccine to keep the job? Did you lose work, income, or relationships because of your decision? Did you feel coerced or blackmailed by the rules that were put in place? And what long-term effects did this have on your trust in government, employers, or the system? And we spoke with that quite. We gave Lloyd Burr quite a heavy serve on this one because that's what we're seeing is that people's trust is shot. And it's not just on the government, employers, or the system. I added that to like education, the police, the medical profession. There's a whole lot of ways that people's trust has been really obliterated, and all of the things that kind of make up the way that we exist and operate in our society. I think it's really important that they know that if that's something that floats your boat. Lockdowns and isolation. How did the lockdowns impact your work, your family, and your mental health? Were you able to visit or say goodbye to a loved one? What lasting effects did the restrictions have on your life or your community? And were you or someone you know stopped from returning to New Zealand because of the border closures? And we know that was a big one. That whole thing of being stranded overseas for the people that were forced to have their babies overseas that can't, were denied being a New Zealand citizen because of that. There was all sorts of tanglements and being stuck offshore during that time. Testing, tracing, and masks. Gosh, we were talking about this the other day, the whole craziness of masks. And I was out today and I was still seeing people driving around in cars by themselves in a mask. It's the effect is long lasting on some people. If you did this, how did regular testing affect your life? Were you forced to test even when it didn't make sense? Maybe you had to do that as part of your job, or if you had to travel, for those of us that went on planes, you were forced at one point to do those rat tests. Did you find the Tracer app or mask rules invasive or discriminatory? Maybe you're one of the people who really were treated in a very heavy-handed way, especially in the beginning with the masks. Did you seek or use an exemption? And how were you treated as a result of using that? Were you discriminated against? Or did it just make you feel really uncomfortable and anxious? Those things are all valid. Mental health and social harm. I think lots of us can identify with this one. Were you shunned by friends, family, or colleagues? How did it feel to be deemed a second-class citizen by the PM and the rest of the government who all went along with her? Do you feel traumatized by what happened to you, and have you had any support? How is it now, all these years later? Are you still carrying around, like I am, $350 worth of library book fines in the back of my car because I just still hate, I hate the fact that they did what they did during that time and they locked us all out. And I see the books and I just think, nah, I'm not taking them back yet. I'm not over it. So, I think I'm not alone in that. There's a lot that you carry because you were turned away, for your medical choice and deemed sort of the great unwashed, and that hits you hard. Why it's important to you? Why are you choosing to speak now, and what change do you want to see? If you can put in there something about what you would like to see as a result of this process, this phase 2, do it. Let them know. What do you want the commissioners and all of New Zealand to understand? I think those are important ones to include if you can. And then right down the bottom, we've got some frequently asked questions. So I shared my story during phase 1. We've done that one. I'm not a good writer. Can I still send something in? 100%. You don't need perfect grammar or fancy words. You just need to tell your story your way. And if it feels too hard, remember that you can do it in audio or video. My story is really short. Is that okay? Absolutely. One sentence is enough. One paragraph is enough. You don't need to cover everything. Just focus on one moment, one issue, or one feeling that still sits with you. Now, a friend wrote a comment on one of my Facebook posts the other day that was as simple as this, and I thought to myself at the time, you know what, this if that's all you wrote as your feedback, your story, it'd be hugely powerful. And it went something like this, and I'm sorry if I get a little bit wrong, but she said, I had to let my 4-year-old daughter be taken to the bathroom at the library by a stranger. And I just thought, oof, that really hit me. As a mum, that's not something you want to do, right? But she was between a rock and a hard place. A little girl needed to go to the loo, and she was not allowed inside. So what do? You're either going in the bushes or you've got to let her fend for herself, which is truly, truly awful that is what they did to us during that time. And I would think if that is all you put in is a story to this process, and that is powerful as anything else. So the point of that is short stories are perfectly fine. Can I mention more than one topic? Vaccine, injury, and job loss. Yes, we're going to fix this one up a bit. It's not quite how we wanted it, but yes, you can tell your story. Your story might have multiple different factors involved in it. It's just that if you wanted to, say, put in a story for your husband or your child or your parents or something like that, then do a separate one for them. And then that will be 2 people counted. What if I'm still angry, sad, or traumatized? It's okay. You're allowed to be. Lots of us are. You've carried a lot, and we're all still healing. If this feels confronting, take it slow. You've still got 2 weeks. Use the prompts, write a few lines, and come back to it later. Put it down, go get a cup of tea, or come back to it in a day or 2. You're not alone. There's thousands of us, thousands and thousands and thousands of us doing this together. And where do I go to share my story? So we've got a link here. And, it would be really great if when you do submit your story, you let us know. If you want your story to be logged with us, it's what we did last time. You can send it to us as well. And if you'd like it to be added to our website, we have a whole page of stories on our blog. And we won't put full names, but we can put like a first name and a location if that's something that you're happy to do, and have it there for the public record. People can go and read them, and we can direct people that way. So I'll go back up and I will show you when you click through here to send the feedback. Here is the page that you will land on at the Royal Commission, and this is the box that you can type your story or paste your story. And I would recommend that you never just type directly into here as the only place that you've got your story written. Like, write it in a draft email or in a Word document or somewhere else, because all you need is a little glitch and you could lose the whole thing in here, and that would not be fun. So paste it in here. If that works for you, you've got 20,000 characters, or you come down to the second option down here and you can choose a file. And the file can be a PDF, a Word file, an audio file, or a video file, so long as it's under 25 megabytes. You can save it and come back later. If you only got halfway through, you have to stop for some reason, and then you can continue through to the next stage. And you've got your name, your contact email, and I don't know that, Claire, do you know?
No, you don't
I
have
don't
to.
think you have to do
You don't
that.
have to fill in those, but you may want to, and
Yeah.
also you may want to.
Oh, there we go. I want the commissioners to keep my submission permanently confidential. If you're in that category, you can do that. Yes or no? Yeah, I
But
think.
even above that, with all that other information, you don't have to do that, and you don't have to use your full name. And, perhaps you're somebody who has an alternative email, or
Yeah,
has more than one name that you like to go under. That is all okay.
yeah. The fact that it's letting me go through without doing all those things shows you that it's totally fine, because otherwise it would stop you. If you provide an email address, you'll be sent a receipt and a link to the PDF copy of your response. It doesn't even look like you have to do that. You can do it if you want a record of it. So hit submit when you're done.
And Alia, if you want to share, I put the stories because you could show I think it'll be really helpful if you would like to share your story with us as well, and we will probably we'll see, we may get something that makes it easy for us to receive those, just something where you can easily click to send it. But in the meantime, if you are doing them and you've done it somewhere, you could just send it to us with the subject of my COVID story, and we'll keep a track of those. So this is what we did the last time, and we can either add or do a different one here. But
Yes.
this is, yeah.
So you've got first name and a title of your profession if that's applicable, and your region, and then you can click through into your story, which is printed in there, and there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of these. So they're there for safekeeping on our website. And I will just see if I can find on the home page where you can go to find this.
We'll have to add, I don't think it's on VFF website yet.
No,
So it's on the RCR website. I did post the link. I'll post the link to the page Alia has been sharing again in the chat. But she's going to show you as well how you can get to it on the RCR
yeah. So can you see this
website.
here? So,
And we'll share it again. It wasn't finished when we sent the email today. So when we will send an email out after this webinar, it will go out the day after tomorrow, actually, with the links and everything in there.
yeah. So this is the rcr.media website. You'll also be able to get it via realitycheck.radio, and both go to the same place. If you scroll down past all of the galleries of the different content, you will get to the Take Action tab, which also you can do at the top here as well. But if you click on the COVID inquiry, which is the first one in this series now, that will take you through to the page that we were just on. So that's easy peasy. And if we go back, I'm pretty sure, well, she says, oh yeah, there we go. If you go to the action tab at the top, you can get there as well.
Yeah.
So the other thing to do is share that with the people that you know in your community, and make sure that they're aware that it's there to help them to have their say.
Yeah, I think the important thing to remember is it can be as long and detailed as you want, but it could also be literally a sentence. They asked us in that interview what was the legacy of Jacinda for us, and I said it was division. That was what I said. She, divided the country. But even if somebody is really like, I don't have time, just can't even put my mind to it, then, a few words to describe what it was like, they all add up to numbers which were against the way that things were handled. And the crazy thing is, really, for as far as sort of a lot of media reporting goes, something short almost has the same really value as something really long. But I think a lot of people, I haven't done one for this one yet, but I did it for the last one. And it's true that it can be quite a cathartic experience, not for everybody, perhaps, but that's what a lot of people say. I know when I did the first one, I actually just printed a lot of the stories that had been sent in to us that people had given us permission to share. So I think I shared about 40 stories of people. And that felt really good to be able to do that. So if you've got, anything from short to long, it'll count. And if you share it with us, we can use it again. And like all the emails that we got sent, and we handed them over to Lloyd, and he did look at them, and they will have made an impact. And you just can't know exactly where things are going to go. You know how we've always said you might be at the supermarket, at the shop, and something you say can make a difference.
Mm.
And you don't know how it's going to impact further on people.